So bottom line, all of these local bogus tax-exempt charities like CVOEO, Howard Center, COTS, Safe Harbor Community Health Centers of Burlington. I haven't had any interaction with that. Heather Bush was in here, came into McDonald's, went to the restroom and buzzed by me and then buzzed out. I don't think that was a coincidence. But that's, I don't even know. Haven't had anything to do with a new place recently other than that last week or the week before. Actually, I think it was last week. But nothing's really changed. They're still covering for what they did back in 2020. They wrote up, Safe Harbor wrote up 2 fictional sets of medical records and went online, pretended to be me and got Vermont, or whoever it was, went online, pretended to be me and got Vermont Medicaid in my name, and then Economic Services has been lying, saying that they didn't send me to police. Now they're lying about not being able to renew a room at Motel 6, and it sure looks like everybody the Miller Center's pretty much a collection of all of them. I don't know that anybody from a new place was there, but you had CVOEO, Justice Center, Howard Center, Safe Harbor, CHCB, whatever, they're all there. And all of them are still making sure that they're not referring me over to STEPS. Now, if they made the referral to STEPS, STEPS would do their job. STEPS isn't doing their job because they're covering for all the other organizations. They're all involved. Anyway, if I remember correctly, there was a news article that said Peter Welch let Paul Dragon create the policies for COVID for homeless people in hotels, and he decided that he was going to make a rule that if you wanted to keep your hotel room, Economic Services would refer you to CVOEO. You were supposed to get that hour-long assessment, and then based on that assessment, they either referred you to STEPS, or if you had a disability, you're homeless because of a disability, they refer you to Safe Harbor, or if you're homeless because of an alcohol or drug issues, they refer you to some rehab, or some mental health disability, they refer you to Howard Center. Well, they just made sure they didn't do the assessment at all. And then they kept trying to force me to work with Marcus, knowing that they were under criminal investigation because Economic Services sent me to the police because of somebody going online pretending to be me and getting Vermont Medicaid in my name. And then Marcus tried to refer me back to COTS, but they went out of their way to make sure nobody referred me to STEPS. And McAfee didn't either. McAfee was part of that. They're not going to blame it all on their lawyers. I mean, I'm watching them stick together to cover each other's butts right now. They certainly could have reported their attorneys, and they knew there was a federal investigation in New York. They knew Cousy was investigating. They could have called the sheriff. They could have called the state police at any point if they felt threatened by anybody in law enforcement. They were threatened. They were scared of getting caught. That's all they were scared of. They knew the game was up. Their little convenient little system where they get to control all the evidence and rape and traffic drugs and profit and keep people on the streets and make sure they don't have homes with the Pomerlows and make sure they don't have living wages and make a fortune off all these You got COTS, you got a new place, you got CVOEO, you got all these big ass, big tax exempt nonprofits. Bigger, you got more here than Columbia, Missouri, which is twice the population, both for the regular permanent population, and Mizzou's got way more than twice the student population of UVM. These motherfuckers are stealing a lot of damn money through these bogus tax-exempt charities. They need as many homeless bodies as possible. They need as many people addicted to drugs and whatever as possible. Of course, we know the police in Weinberger's Iran, the Goldwaters are bringing that in, have been since before Iran-Contras. So they're all still doing the same crap they've always done. So since you all are going public with the Epstein stuff, they can explain why they've got all these big tax-exempt charities, including STEPS. And here they've now openly admitted in front of all your undercovers that were there at Miller Center both weekends that I was there. Openly admitting, yeah, I'm a trafficking, basically the domestic violence murder victim of one of Epstein's defense attorneys, but they're still not getting the state police in there to talk to me, or the sheriff's department, or victims advocates, or Hochul's independent investigation. They're now making sure I don't have a place to stay and don't have a hotel room in hopes, and then trying to get me to go to the food shelf for a bus ticket. They're trying to get me the hell out of town for whatever they got. Your surveillance will know whatever the hell they cooked up. I mean, you're watching all their texts, all their emails, you're listening to every word they say. So, you should have everything you need on all of them. And I'm going to go get what I need to be able to sleep in this cold on the concrete in that bus stop until you send Vermont Digger or some journalist out and say, you're a big time whistleblower. What the hell are you doing out here sleeping on these streets when you're terminally ill and your boyfriend, your ex-boyfriend and employer is one of Epstein's defense attorneys? Embarrass the fucking shit out of them. They deserve to be humiliated. Then close down my camp with some BS about a structure. Never mind, there's been a structure there. Having their little, still impersonating victims advocates, pretending that they're cooperating with the special, whether it's Sarah George or the mayor or whoever. They're still trying to imply that. And they think they've got me convinced of that. No, I've got them convinced that I'm convinced when I never was convinced. I gave them some bait to chew on, and they spit it out like idiots, regurgitated it. Oh my God. So that's my plan. That's not to say that they're not falsifying the records to put it all off on my parents. They are. But it's up to my parents to defend themselves. They're full-grown adults. They have far more resources than I do. If they want to depose me, they'll get their ass up here. That they're going to have to be subjected to depositions. And I'm thinking maybe they don't want that. I don't know. We'll see. We bagged Meredith. We got her dead to rights. Got her trying to put it all off on my father, like I said. I don't know what else I can do for you. I'll send an email. I am going to file the restraining order against Judge Hoare. And I am going to mention all this fuckery. And the assault via unnecessary Narcan by the director of the pods, who's housing most of Judge Hoare's idiotic PIs, though they don't just work for him, while they're claiming to work for Sarah George and Bernie Sanders and the mayor. And dropping Judge Hoare's name, but in a way to distance themselves from him, making a point to try to make it look like he's an adversary. Oh, good Lord. This is so embarrassing. They're so stupid. This is the stupidest crap I have ever seen of all the shit that I've dealt with since I left Chad's. The crap they pulled here is the stupidest. It's embarrassing for me to even say it out of my mouth. I can't say it without cracking up. They're so stupid. There are a bunch of frat boys and sorority girls still doing stupid frat boy, sorority girl prank shit. They think that UVM and CVOEO and Safe Harbor and Howard Center and the rehabs are their private frat houses to do with whatever the hell they want. And party and be white privileged elitist pricks. Human trafficking. And that asshole who runs the pods, the redhead with the glasses, whatever her name is, she acts like a molester. The way she kept trying to fuck with his head after she Narcaned him unnecessarily and chased him down. It was like disgusting. They're molesters. They're all molesters. They all act like molesters. They molest everything and everybody. I mean, most of these homeless people really are truly vulnerable because they don't even, like that guy, he didn't even realize what she did was probably she could catch fucking charge for. Now, if we had unbiased police that actually did their job, not more frat boys and sorority girls or relatives or cronies. They're hiring each other's cronies. If he were counseled properly, he might very well choose to charge her with something. She's mandated to self-report. Bet she doesn't. All those people there were mandated to report her. Bet they didn't. But bet they don't do shit. Bet they all sit and trivialize and minimalize, demonize him with their Jim Crow, Joe Biden, Strom Thurmond, elitist BS. I think they did it. I mean, there's no reason to unnecessarily Narcan someone unless you're trying to create some sort of alibi for a future similar act of violence. So if they'll unnecessarily Narcan him, you think they won't have one of their people gift him a big chunk of whatever that's just enough fentanyl to kill him in a matter of minutes? Oh, well, we had to Narcan him last week. That's what that was about. And I'm not going to put his name out there. I'm not going to put any of his personal stuff out there that would indicate he is definitely a vulnerable adult. You're going to have to get, I'll go over that, which I know your undercover saw it because I'm quite sure. I don't know for a fact. I didn't talk to anybody, but I doubt very seriously I was in there without either Hochul's undercovers or somebody from the state police or wherever. Doesn't mean they're licensed peace officers or FBI agents or anything like that. They were probably just there to observe somebody that Or maybe they were. Who knows? But yeah, if any of you want to lie about that crap, since y'all like to watch my social media, but these corrupt tax exempt charities that are government contracted, so you got a whole lot more mandates than you would if you weren't contracted with the police and the sheriff and the state police and what have you. Knock yourselves out. It ain't gonna work out well for you.